In previous segments, we talked about setting up your entity and all that good stuff. S-election, why it makes sense, when it doesn't, when you maybe want to defer until the following year. In segment 3, we talked about registering in a state to do business in that state. Nothing to do with income taxes or payroll. Those are separate issues, income and payroll. And then also temporary duty assignments as well. So in this one, we're going to talk about tax deductions. We're just going to kind of run through the common ones. There's a zillion.
The big thing with home office is basically you're saying, hey, I have dedicated a piece of my property that I own personally.
Or rent.
To the business, right? And I've committed this space. And so all these expenses that I pay personally, the rent or the mortgage or the property taxes or the house cleaner, whatever it is, have some level of proportionate business use.
Well, and it takes us back to deductions can't be lavish or extravagant.
Right.
You know, me as a single member S Corp, who is the board owner and the officer and the shareholder.
And the janitor.
Yeah. You know, should I be spending, I like the $14,000 figure. Should I be spending $14,000 to host my meeting? Probably not. I should probably take myself to Starbucks. Something along those lines. It's a little bit more reasonable.
Totally, I agree. And to qualify for a deduction, just in general, right, it has to be ordinary and necessary. Ordinary is something that everybody does in your industry. Okay, so I'm not sure how many board of director meetings are happening with CRNAs, let's say. And then necessary for your business to survive, right? And so ordinary and necessary are two just cornerstone rules, and then it can't be lavish or extravagant. So cell phone, internet, you want to talk about that a little bit, Megan?
Yeah, so I mean, there's hardly anybody who can do anything, you know, for their business without cell phone and internet at this point. And so we see a ton of people, they're basically utilizing their personal cell phone, their personal home internet connection to operate the business. That is at some level a business deduction.
Absolutely.
You should be taking a percentage of it.
So in those examples, in that home office, and let's assume automobile mileage is happening, so you're getting reimbursed for miles by the S Corp, by your entity, cell phone and internet, those 4, right? We kind of categorize those as mixed use in a lot of ways. And let's just assume that the automobile is personal and business. We need you to pay for all those expenses personally and then get reimbursed by the company. I think it's a common misconception, like, hey, I'm driving to the hospital and I need gas to get to the hospital. I should pull up my business credit card. It's like, stop. If this car is both personal and business, we need you to pay it with personal funds and then have the business reimburse you for the business use of your car, which is typically going to be the mileage rate. Let's talk about putting spouse on payroll. What do you guys think about that? There's 2 big advantages.
Yeah, well, the one that I always think of first is retirement.
Yeah, totally.
So, you know, now
and
that
specifically a 401k.
A 401k specifically, yeah, because now that I'm an employee of my business and I'm going to get a W-2, I can also defer money into a 401k. The maximum for me, the individual, is $20,500 for this year. Well, now if I put my spouse on the payroll, guess what?
Double down.
They also have a $20,500 deferral limit. So if you can cash flow it, you can get to a point. I mean, for a married couple, what would it be this year? $122,000. You could max out $61,000 each.
Yep.
If you max
out
everybody's
big salaries,
I mean,
right.
you'd have to have a lot of income to make that make sense. But the limit's double for, you know, if you can put a spouse on payroll.
Putting spouse on payroll. We've only talked about a few things really in the last hour and a half that we've been doing this podcast and recording. So get a hold of us at WCG, talk to us. We do have a CRNA specialist team. We do a lot of CRNA stuff, and there's a lot of, I would argue that 70% of them are all pretty same. So kind of like a house. Your house has 4 walls and a roof, so does mine. You know, but the inside of it's a little different, you know, so everyone's going to have some uniqueness, and we can certainly help navigate through all that.